Like pixels on a screen, these are the games of our lives.
Oh God, it's really dusty in here. Oh, welcome, one and all to the games of our lives. I think this is 30 or something. I don't know. I've lost all track of time. Joining me from beyond the sea, the king himself, Michael.
Ooh, I enjoyed the subtle opening. You had me going for a while. I was like,
You
that
couldn't-
poor man is sick. What is he doing trying to podcast?
Yes, it was a real good choice because my microphone is push to talk, so I definitely opened the mic in order to cough into it. It's the reverse cough button.
I have absolutely done that by mistake, where I'll be playing a game and I'll cough, and since my brain is wired that I'm making a sound out of my mouth, I should hold the button down. I just cough directly into the mic.
I move closer to the mic to cough. So Mike.
Oh, ooh, was that a Tavon? Oh God, what was his name?
Tavon Zon Martin.
Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday.
Something that was pretty close.
Yeah, that's from 8 years ago.
I was gonna say all the kids are. So,
Michael, it's been a while for you.
It has been a while.
How many different kinds of games did you play, and talk about one?
Oh man,
Seven.
No, I've actually I have done quite a few different ones. I've been putting a lot of time into Rebel Galaxy, kind of trying to get over the hump, but haven't really successfully done that.
Mm-hmm.
I played a couple party games. I'm actually going to talk about probably my favorite one so far, and that's Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
Ah, yes, I've been meaning to check that out.
Yeah, I think we've maybe mentioned it with an upcoming thing.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, it's one of those asymmetric games, and I believe it's an Oculus game, or at least sort of has that idea in mind.
It's certainly Oculus compatible. That's how they typically showed it off at like a PAX or something, but
yeah. So
not
I
required.
I just played the Steam version. I do not own an Oculus.
So explain the setup for those that aren't familiar.
But it is so all right. So basically, like I said, it's asymmetric. So one player is looking at a screen, and on that screen is a bomb that you have to defuse. And basically, it's any number of modules, and you click on a module, and there's some sort of associated puzzle with it. I guess the tricky thing is that the other players cannot see the bomb. They are looking at a different screen, and really what they're looking at is a giant PDF that has it's the manual. It's how to defuse the bomb.
Okay, so you've got a box with puzzles on it that one player is looking at, and the other players are looking at this document.
Yeah, exactly.
Which sort of explains how the puzzles are solved based on like various factors about the puzzles, right?
Yeah, and basically there's a lot of back and forth questions. What color is this? What does it have a serial number? What button is lit up?
Okay.
And pretty much there is there's a couple external factors, like the lights will randomly turn off and you have to sort of scramble for the light bulb to turn it back on. There'll be random there's an alarm clock that will randomly go off. You have to hit snooze or else it'll just keep buzzing.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess wouldn't affect anything. It's very aggravating, which I guess was the idea.
Well, yeah, I've seen that alarm go off, and it triggered a PTSD-like effect in me. Returned me back to like college, where I had that alarm clock.
It's the alarm clock everyone had. So still, if I'm watching TV and there's a commercial, there's a product. Use a commercial, and in that commercial they have that sound. I try to make a mental note to never buy anything from that.
I just get a cold sweat, and I start to panic a little bit.
It's like when they put police sirens in songs, and then I'm playing it on in the car, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? So this game does do that, but despite that, at least you know what's coming in this one. It's not sneaky,
right?
But it's a lot of fun. It's pretty frantic. Actually, this is one of 2 bomb defusing games I've been playing recently. The other one is Bomb Core. That's part of the Jackbox Party Pack 2,
Okay.
which is also a good game. But this one is kind of a little more. It's insanely in depth, and we tried playing it where basically we'd have one person on the bomb in sort of a side room, and then everyone else is sort of huddled around the TV that has the PDF. That works fairly well. Kind of the problem we ran into is that the fastest reader would basically be the one kind of talking, so it's a little tough to do like joint. Even though technically there's no real limit on number of players, just how many people can sort of work together to interpret directions.
Yeah, I think I'll link to it again, but a fellow Meganaut from a few years ago did a super hardcore, like maybe I think like the hardest bomb in the game, with a bunch of people over Skype, and they had a very interesting way of going about it. He would dole out puzzles to people, and they would go back and forth, and I'll have to link to that again.
Answer. That makes a lot of sense. A lot of the puzzles are really kind of linear. So you'll do one thing, and then it'll give you the next prompt. So you can't really look at a puzzle and try to say a bunch of things at a time. But it is a lot of fun. The puzzles I think are pretty clever. I could understand what probably our favorite thing to do was if we had someone who hadn't played it, we'd like, all right, you're on the bomb.
Oh yeah.
So it's just what's funny is actually what happened was, we had put a couple hours into the game. We figured we went through all the basic levels, and then we put a new player, and the first puzzle he saw none of us had seen before.
Uh-oh.
So I don't know, it was kind of funny. I was surprised at that. So I don't know if they'll just start randomly mixing up puzzles, bringing in some harder puzzles earlier.
Yeah, and then they sort of combine. I think they just start combining them as you get higher and higher and up difficulty.
Yeah, I could see. I mean, I don't know how much. This is probably one of those games that you're going to sit down and play for hours and hours and hours. So I don't really see a problem where maybe you could get too good at it and you just have everything memorized. Should be a little weird. They do, when you load up the game, it comes up with a code, and then you enter that code on the website to get a different manual.
Oh,
so
I'm
not sure how often they update it.
Yeah,
but
because it seems like you would want maybe to have a print copy of the manual, so you don't have to scroll through.
I think that would probably help a lot, especially if you
PDF.
If you wanted to print out, that would absolutely help. You have your like little folder and you're scrambling through. But there'll be things where it'll be like matching puzzles, memory games. There's one where basically they'll have to describe symbols to you, and you have to match. You have a sheet that has all the symbols, so it's almost like you're playing symbol charades, where you're like, all right,
right.
The weird looking U. But no, it's a ton of fun. Especially obviously it's for a crowd, or I should say it works for a crowd.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm a big fan of the kind of party asymmetric type gameplay. And I really enjoyed this one.
Cool.
So how about you? I understand you've been playing maybe a more traditional, bigger ticket game.
Yeah, I've been XCOM 2 is finally out, and so I've been playing that. So like right off the bat, there's nothing earth shattering about XCOM 2 apart from maybe
Snake boobs.
The story. Well, so the snake boobs are a lot smaller than they were when that whole hubbub happened.
Oh my god!
My
worldview
I know,
shattered.
right? It's about ethics and snake boobage.
I was like, I want to buy the game and do a Steam return. Snake boobs not big enough.
Yeah, there you go. I'm sure 2K will eat that cost. But yeah, it's more of Enemy Unknown, the reboot. It's certainly more of that. The turn-based combat is exactly the same. It's got all of the same rules in play. That part of the game has not changed much. Obviously, there are more different enemies. There's more tile sets. There's a lot more ticking clocks in this one, I would say. in the actual missions.
I kind of feel like they experimented with that one with the melt and the expansion.
Right.
So you don't just kind of cover the Overwatch.
Yeah, you're not only incentivized, you sort of have to move as quickly as you can through these maps in order to complete the objectives. And one of the cool things that they do in the missions now is that for many of them, you start off, I guess I would describe it as being in stealth. So you can sort of surround the enemies that you find and ambush them and take them out in one turn. Granted, it's not all of the enemies in the map, but it's usually a nice chunk.
So they got rid of because that was one of the problems with the first game, is that you'd be creeping along and then your last guy would trigger an event and then 4 guys would just come out of nowhere.
Well, that still happens once you've left concealment, because you're only in concealed until somebody fires a weapon, and then you have to do the rest of the mission out of concealment. It would be nice. It would be nice if you isolated a group to be able to take them out and stay in concealment, but no.
Well, we'll have to wait for Splinter Cell XCOM or something.
Right.
Metal Gear XCOM is the better one.
The big changes, however, come in the metagame, which has both a lot more stuff to do and a lot more balls to keep in the air.
So in terms of keeping your sponsor countries happy.
Well, so the everybody knows this by now, but the big story, the story of the sequel is that you lost the war. You had a bad end in Enemy Unknown.
Oh, obviously, I did not know that.
Yes. So you were actually a guerrilla fighting force trying to resist the aliens who have taken over the world government.
Oh, so you control gorillas instead of humans this game?
Yes.
All right. Mod idea.
Yeah. It's very interesting. It's not something that a lot of sequels would do, but it's totally something that an XCOM sequel would do. No, it's unfortunately not Terror from the Deep, which would have been pretty rad.
So I think you answered this already, but so it's new. There's more maps. Are they random, or is it pretty much you're always gonna?
It's just a bunch of different tile sets like they had in the last game, where they had the woods, they had the city, that sort of thing. There's more of those. But every time you get
okay, so it's not every time you get the woods, it's the same woods level.
No.
Maybe they'll start you in a different place.
No, it's just a tile set that I guess is built randomly. I'm not certain. I'm sure they've got an algorithm to do it.
Well, if you don't know, because that was, I remember like the graveyard level, and it was always the same.
Oh, right.
They just had the one level.
Right. So there are still fixed missions. I'm not certain that they aren't randomized within there, but there are certain like checkpoint missions, like in the last game, infiltrating the UFO and the last mission, that sort of thing.
Oh, okay, but the fact that you haven't really noticed at this point probably means it's a little bit better.
Yeah, there's because I've gone back after if something is going particularly awful, I've reloaded to a save that's in the metagame and then gotten a completely different mission.
Oh, I'm guilty of the same.
Oh yeah, I don't do it for every turn because then it would just take forever. But yeah.
I'll tell you where I gave up this isn't an XCOM related at all, but in Fire Emblem when they just offered you, so like, hey, you guys don't have to die permanently.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I accepted it. I knew that's when that was the point of return.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go back to Diablo 2 hardcore mode after that.
Right. But yeah, the metagame, there's a lot more stuff to do. Obviously, as I said, there's a lot more juggling that's going on, and it's like overall the game feels more difficult, tuned up a little bit from enemy unknown, where you could very easily get well ahead, well outpace your the enemies very quickly. There are a bunch of randomized events that sort of, if you're getting too powerful, the game is like, okay, well, we got to step it up a little bit here. It's not a fixed progression. It's sort of based on what you do.
That's good. I like that part about XCOM.
Yeah.
And that was always, the first XCOM, you can't do anything fast or you will die.
Right. And it's not going to change the world. It's more XCOM. But I like it.
All right, it's good to hear.
So, Mike, what do you got on the horizon? What are you looking forward to?
So I was looking at I was doing the Steam sale sort of quest, kind of BS quest. Where you're just picking options, just giving you different wish lists or whatever to look through. And they are porting Disgaea to Steam.
Is it actually Atlas doing it?
That's a good question.
I gotta look this up.
I'm not sure if it is. It's the game, and I think Atlas has been doing a bunch of PC stuff, right?
More certainly.
Yeah, but... so I'm admittedly not sure if it's actually Atlas doing it. But pretty much, if you've never played it, it's a tactics game, and I was always a big fan of the sort of Final Fantasy tactics type turn-based combat. Pretty much, it's they just kind of turn everything up to the extreme in terms of levels, in terms of like power. It's a really silly game. It's an old game. I mean, this came out I think when we were in 12 years ago, maybe?
PlayStation 2, yeah.
It was a PlayStation 2 game.
And it was hard to get in the US. They did not ship a lot. And I remember, I got my copy well into the Xbox 360 era for like $50.
Yeah, no, that thing kept its value. Because they didn't make enough. And then Disgaea 2, they made too much.
Yeah, then they sort of
got cheap real quick.
Yeah, then Nippon Ichi sort of burned America out by I think I've got like 7 or 8 of their games that are all sort of the same.
They made a ton of games all the same.
Yeah, they're all very similar.
Yeah, so it's fun. I don't know how much. I mean, if you enjoy that kind of game, if you've never played it, I think it's worth checking out or at least looking. I think a lot of the jokes now you look and you're like, oh man, why did I think the suicidal penguins were so funny? Not Who Am I King? Suicidal penguins are hilarious. But I would say they made some of the systems a lot friendlier. Some of the systems they made way more complicated. Still, the funniest thing they did to me was the Senate, where basically there was a council of super powerful monsters that you could present proposals to. And for example, you could make a proposal to like increase the treasure value that monsters carried, or increase difficulty, decrease difficulty, whatever. And they would vote on it, and depending on your influence up to that point in the game, it would be yes or a no. But if you didn't like the decision, you could go in there and fight them.
Yeah, and basically
you would die.
Yeah,
until,
you would get wrecked.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the difficulty, the curve to me was a lot of the advertisements for it kind of went on the fact that it went to level 9999.
Yeah, I'm watching the trailer, and it's just all of the ultimate abilities that you don't get until like 50 hours into the game.
Yeah, you have to put too much time into it. Like it's funny, but the investment, I don't think I ever finished it. Even though I put in a lot of time, but it was just so much to actually kind of slog through that.
Right.
But it was still a fun game. I think it was like $20. So if you've never played it, you should just look at it, and if it makes you giggle and you enjoy tactics or that style of gameplay, you should probably check it out.
Yeah, they call it a strategy RPG
that's probably the proper term. So how about you, Chris? What are you looking forward to?
So yeah, I went on a birthday buying spree last month. I got XCOM 2. I purchased the Tomb Raider sequel on the PC. I'm looking forward to playing that. And I also picked up Firewatch, which I'm going to play this weekend. And get through all of it. I'm looking forward to that a lot, because I've been looking forward to that for a few years now. It just looks amazing, and I'm just gonna sit down sometime on Saturday and just do it all.
Oh, so do you know how long it takes? I mean, is it like a one sitting type game?
It's like 5 hours, I've heard.
Oh, that's not bad. That's a one sitting type game.
Yeah. It's if you're not familiar, it's very similar to like a Gone Home, or an It Only Is a Way, where you're following this story through an environment, and you're sort of exploring the environment and figuring out what's going on.
Yeah, it's less like action focused, right?
Yeah, but it's beautiful. I can't wait to dive into that.
Oh, very cool. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's been too long, so way too much news is piled up. So I don't think we're gonna cover anything. But yeah,
like any good service, we're just gonna.
I mean,
I guess too much.
yeah.
No, I get.
I don't think anybody comes to us for
What?
hard hitting current events. I don't think anybody comes to us
How
at
about
all.
those politics?
Woof.
Yeah. So much.
There's so many of them.
I know.
Right. So back in the saddle again. Games of our
Oh,
lives.
it's like we never left.
It is like we never left. It's like we were constantly recording. In fact, we never stopped.
No, this is. But I think YouTube chugs out after like what is it, 100 hours?
Of what?
Or no, what was it? What's the YouTube? What's the maximum video length on YouTube?
I think it's like just over 10 hours.
Oh, you're right. Because you can look up 10 hours of stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it has to do more with file size than anything else. But, because, yeah, YouTube's weird. I've been served hour-long ads before, which is kind of effed up. Like, if you think I'm going to sit through that, you're crazy.
Wait, is there a skip button?
Yes, obviously. Any ad over a certain length gets a skip button.
God, I hope so.
Yeah. But, yeah, as for like a 10-minute video, and you think I'm going to sit through this hour-long local? It's
I'm
commercial.
sure it's an infomercial
for a local
like
for
Koch brothers.
Yeah, for no, not even. It was for a local shower refinisher.
No, and
No, I'm not kidding you, man.
That's awesome.
It was an hour-long commercial for like a re-bath it or whatever it is.
Is it like a Lifetime movie about how like a housewife?
No,
was,
it's literally like their product video that they ripped onto the PC and said, publish this to YouTube as an ad. I don't care what it costs or how long it is.
All of it.
This is the video that we send all of our franchisees.
Oh man, that's great. Well, you know what? Good on you for not using an ad blocker. You know, people. I mean, that's how money is made on the internet.
Yeah, I mean,
I think people are kind of spoiled when they use ad blockers and then complain that good websites go out of business.
Yeah, great game trailers just went down. They have shuttered themselves, and it's happening more and more.
Yeah, so take that, people who use ad blockers on YouTube.
Well, I mean, the internet ad economy is garbage, but it is like it's the only way that these sites can stay in business. So you have to think about what you're gaining versus what you're losing. Let's get off of this horse that we're on. It's very high, and I am afraid of heights.
I love bitching about people who be like, "What do you mean you don't have an ad blocker?"
Well, I do. I just turn it off for most of the internet.
All right.
The part of the internet that isn't going to hurt me by injecting malicious code into my system.
All right, fair enough.
But enough of that, I say. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy the show, tell your friends, tell your loved ones, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your grandma. Don't tell your grandpa. He'll be jealous. Tell your uncle. And come back next time for another episode of Games of Our Lives. Goodbye.